Sean, so many folks watching right now adhere to certain dietary standards. There are vegetarians, there are you and I who are gluten free, and then there is the paleo diet as well. It's interesting that if you don't follow the paleo diet, you may have a lot of questions about it. Our next guest is coming live from Venice Beach to answer them.
She's got answers. Her name's Erica Schlick. She is a health coach, a blogger, and a cookbook author with Wandering Palate. It's great to have you, Erica. How are you?
Thank you. It's great to be on here. I'm doing really well.
It's great to have you. By the way, everyone is watching here, by the way, for not only food advice, but also interior decorating advice, because that is fantastic. Good for you.
I am an architect, so I can help with that too.
Please help. That's good. All right, great.
Oh my gosh.
Erica, let's talk about, first of all, Wandering Palate. What was the inspiration to start this?
Well, the book is really a kind of a celebration that I recovered from Lyme disease, and diet was one of the first things that I changed. I was actually first diagnosed with celiac before I realized that Lyme disease is my root cause. So diet was one of the first things I changed, and I started to notice how changing my diet, eating more nutritious foods, cutting out the grains, cutting out the gluten made such a difference in my inflammation, the way I could think, the way my joints felt. So I really started diving deep into, how I could use food to heal myself. And so a lot of times before I got sick, I would do a lot of traveling and I could eat whatever I wanted. But obviously that was going to be very different after celiac and Lyme diagnosis. Yeah. And so Wandering Palate is really kind of a collection of all these amazing foods I had on my travels that I'm not going to be able to eat anymore, but creating a healthy, nutritious, and paleo version of them so I can still enjoy those foods and still kind of get taken back to my trips where I went and got to eat all these delicious things.
Nice.
Wow. It's actually nice to hear a little bit about your story. And, being diagnosed with Lyme disease or celiac, those are not easy diagnoses. I had a cousin who was diagnosed with Lyme disease. It's taken her several years really to get her health, back on track, challenging. Let's talk a little bit about how you're combining your travel, stories of travel with all this. And kudos to you, because eating on the road is a challenge in itself.
So hard. And as I've started to get better, I've been able to travel again. And I actually created a whole section on my blog dedicated to gluten-free travel. So I've created city guides of different restaurants. I work with different restaurants in major cities across the world that I can feature. And so that makes it easier for other people that are in my shoes that are struggling with a chronic illness or restricted diet to show them that you can live your life again, you can travel, and you can eat out.
Nice. Fantastic. All right. So you have some food in front of you here. You're going to make it for us. What are you making? What do you got?
Well, today we're going to be making a grain-free tabbouleh salad. And typically, if you know tabbouleh salad, it usually has bulgur or wheat in it. So we're not going to be able to make the traditional one, but we're using cauliflower rice as our grain. And so we're going to start with making our dressing. And I love to use fresh herbs in everything that I make. They're so good for your immune system. They're so healing, anti-inflammatory. So this uses a lot of fresh herbs. So we're going to start with about a quarter cup of fresh mint. And I picked this from my herb garden out in my front yard today. And I've got about 2 tablespoons of fresh dill, also from my herb garden. And then we're going to do a lot of citrus with this. So I've got the juice of 1 lemon, and I've got a little bit of sea salt. This is about 1 teaspoon. And I've got about a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of onion powder, and we have some zest from the same lemon that we juiced. And this is what's really going to tie the salad together. All this citrus, the fresh herbs, really, really give it a nice zest, a nice zing. Really, really fresh flavor. So we're just going to use a whisk to combine that. And you don't need to overly combine it just yet, because we'll mix that in here soon. And now we're going to move over to assembling our actual salad. So again, I've got my cauliflower rice that I've already made. So this is from 1 head of a cauliflower. I chopped it up in my food processor, sauteed it for about 5 to 10 minutes with a little bit of avocado oil and let it cool. And then I've got the head of 1 parsley, and this may look like a lot, but it's going to mix in perfectly. And parsley is great for your immune system. It has vitamin A, C, K in it. These are all things we can all use right now. And we've got about 2 cups of quartered cherry tomatoes. And we have 1 cucumber that's been peeled and chopped as well. And so we're just going to use a fork to combine this. And you don't have to overly mix it yet, but we just want to get kind of the chunks through it so that we can start to pour in our dressing here in just a second. And I just like to use a fork because then that helps the cauliflower rice really kind of go through the openings in the fork and mix in really well. And so now is the fun part. So now we're going to add in our dressing with all our herbs and citrus. And the salad keeps really well too. You can put it in your fridge. It'll last until dinner. Even the next day, it still tastes good as well.
Erica, please bring it closer to the camera so we can see before we let you go. 'Cause we can't.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, look at that. That looks fresh and delicious.
My mouth is
so
watering. How do you do this?
Really,
Thank you, sweetie.
really
use
quickly.
A lot of clean ingredients.
Yes, of course. Really quickly, I know that you're supporting the Global Lyme Alliance as well. Tell us how you're doing that. About 10 seconds.
That's right. So I have my book. All the proceeds from my book sales are going to go to Global Lyme Alliance, and they're doing great work to try to find a cure. They have a whole dedicated research team, and they do a lot for patients. They really try to improve the life of us struggling with Lyme disease. And so they're doing really great things, and I'm working with them here in Southern California to start doing information events and also fundraising events as well.
Awesome.
Erica, thank you so much for joining us today. That was absolutely delicious. And we're going to tell people where they can connect with you. I just followed her on Instagram, by the way. Also, you can go to that website she mentioned. It is right there on your screen, or watch the segment again on our website.